I apologize. A lot of technical difficulty coming in. Thank you, CBRS Entertainment, for letting me know. Hopefully you can hear me now. So let's bypass all that. Welcome, everyone. Let's just start right away. Welcome, everyone, to the Chris Bears podcast showing up. So ironic. So ironic. Technology failed me one more time. Stephanie Beck here. And Liv Morgan showed up. They brought the physicality. I asked for it last week. They brought it. So they are the poll of the episode. Type 1 in the chat if you think Stephanie McGear will walk out still champion. And type 2 in the chat if you think Liv Morgan will become the new champion. What a match this is going to be. What a match this is going to be. And I think this is a dark horse for match of the night. We know how good Stephanie McGear is. We know how good Liv Morgan is. I do believe this match is going to turn heads. I do believe that we are going to talk about this match for a while because I just have a feeling that we might not see this be a one and done. I do think this might go for another PLE, maybe a Saturday night's main event, but a little bit longer after WrestleMania, and maybe, just maybe, we see a nice little feud between the two. I want to let everybody know that on night 1, which is 20 days away of WrestleMania, night 1, I will be at Beercade YEG, the proud sponsor of the Chris Bears podcast, for that episode. Free event. You don't have to pay to get in. You get to enjoy the atmosphere. You get to enjoy the great food. You get to play some video games. It's just a little bit of all right. You want more information about Beercade YEG, please check them out on all their socials. But if you want to come check them out from a physical location in Edmonton, Alberta, go to 10544 82nd Ave. You'll be able to see me there. And night 2, if it's plausible, I will be with the PLE Patrol for night 2 of WrestleMania. Less than 3 weeks away. And we're just getting going. Still a lot of rumored matches to happen. One, I talked, you couldn't hear. My mic decided to act a fool. But Finn Balor made his return to Monday Night Raw after being beat down, kicked out by the Judgment Day. And he put a statement that he wants Dominic Mysterio. He wants him at WrestleMania, even though verbally he did not say anything. But the man who was denied an entrant in the Royal Rumble, I don't think will be denied a spot at WrestleMania. And one might say with that attack on Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, perhaps a match with JD McDonough on Raw coming up might be in order, but we know if a match at WrestleMania is there, he may not come alone. He may come with some demonic alternative. We saw a brand new United States champion on SmackDown on Friday. Sami Zayn shocked everyone. Not by answering the open challenge, but by winning the open challenge. He defeated Carmelo Hayes to become the new United States champion, punching his ticket to WrestleMania. Earlier in the night, we did find out that Trick Williams had found out from general manager Nick Aldis that he would receive a WrestleMania match, and he was very happy. Bragged a little too much to Sami Zayn, who was told the card was just full. So after that little beat from Trick Williams about which way catering's at, Trick Williams, let's just say one ginger snap of the wrist and a punch in the face And Trick Williams was seeing his lemon pepper steppers over his body because he was on his keister. But nonetheless, Trick Williams decides to watch this United States title match at ringside, and he couldn't help himself. He had to get involved, but instead of costing Sami Zayn the championship, he accidentally helped him. And then we find out that the match is Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for that United States title. So one can only presume that one Carmelo Hayes can't be too happy about A, the involvement of Trick Williams, but B, the actions of Sami Zayn. He always talked about nobility and doing the right thing, and he took a play out of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton's playbook. He kept his eye on the ball, and he became champion. Can't blame him, but Carmelo Hayes did. He absolutely got robbed of that United States title, and you can't blame him for being a little mad because, well, his former buddy, his former brother, Trick Williams, is the one that cost him. So look to see a little bit of explosions on SmackDown between those three. And did Sami Zayn commit the cardinal sin? We'll find out. But somehow, I think he's just very excited he's on the WrestleMania card. Let me know your thoughts about WrestleMania so far and how it's shaping up, because we're going to talk a lot about it here tonight. In fact, we're going to talk about it a lot leading up, because who's not excited? Who is not excited to go and watch WrestleMania? I know I can't wait. But what I'm more excited about, what I'm absolutely stoked about, to let everybody know just what's happening over at turnbucklestudios.org. That's right. I know everyone's like, well, what do you mean? What is going on at turnbucklestudios.org? Well, if you go to turnbucklestudios.org/hosts, you get a chance to meet every single one of us. You get a little bit of an introduction. But if you click on our photos, you get an opportunity to go to all of our links. Now, some of us have it easy. I'll put my link tree right below. But if you can't see maybe where to find the socials, you'll want to go to turnbucklestudios.org/hosts, and you want to go and check out all of that. And if you want to get your name on that section, all you have to do is answer this call.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
That's right, everybody. We want to make it easy with turnbucklestudios.org. And you have all the answers to all the questions. But if you want, please check out turnbucklestudios.org/join. You can become perhaps the next member who's tapping in. Two men that are tapping in, but they're on the brink of maybe tapping out, but we don't know because they just don't show the pain that they're in, but we know we can see that they're in it. And that is Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. Those two men are fighting tooth and nail. And the reason why, we still don't know. Jacob Fatu believes Drew McIntyre is the one who attacked him. Drew McIntyre is claiming that he was not the guy who attacked him, and he is the innocence of the story. But what we do know is that they are beating each other up so bad that they are taking just years off their lives. But Nick Aldis is saying, look, you guys want to beat each other up? Fine. But you guys are fighting outside every part of the building. You guys are throwing people around. Everyone's getting hurt, whether it's referees, whether it's security guards, whoever the case may be. So WWE does what WWE does, and that is unsanctioned. That's right. For the first time, we get an unsanctioned match on WrestleMania this year. First match with a true stipulation, because an unsanctioned match really is a stipulation. But here's the kicker. Nick Aldis said it's going to go down on April 18th, which means it's a night one match. I don't know if you guys or girls have been paying attention, but no other match has been announced for a specific date. It's only presumed that we feel certain matches are happening on one day. But now we have actual knowledge that Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu are going on night one of WrestleMania because Nick Aldis announced so. Thought that was very intriguing. I wonder if moving up, we're going to find out just a little bit more of which nights have what matches on them. I still strongly believe CM Punk and Roman Reigns will be your night 2 main event. And if I'm a betting man, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes will be your final match on night 1. Now, we talked about Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. We talked about how that is a match to be added at WrestleMania. But there might be other matches that are going to be added to WrestleMania. We might see a lot of matches added to WrestleMania. Potentially up to 5 to 6 more. And you might be asking, that's a lot. But don't be surprised. Last year, WrestleMania had 7 matches on both nights. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see maybe an 8th added to one, if not both, of the nights. Now let me know what you think is going to be added in the upcoming weeks to WrestleMania. But these are the heavy rumored matches that are going to take place at WrestleMania that have yet to be deemed official. Obviously, Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. But another one might shock you, and that is Io Sky versus Asuka. Now, there could be the element of Kairi Sane in this match, but there has been a huge push for Io Sky to have a one-on-one match. Obviously, Io Sky is a large part of the women's division, and we all know Triple H is a huge supporter of Io. Like many are. Even the fans. We love Io Sky. And I think that an Io versus Asuka match with potentially Kairi Sane implications might be added to that. Now, I did state this a few weeks ago that I felt this would be the right match to go, simply because I do think Io Sky just isn't in a story for a championship right now. Clearly, they shifted plans with Rhea Ripley winning Elimination Chamber and going over to challenge Jade Cargill for her championship. So that takes away a tag team opportunity for Io Sky. So where do you go next? And we all know that there's history between Asuka, Kairi, and Io, obviously from Damage Control. And yes, obviously from their past in Stardom and just anywhere else in Japan. Obviously, they all come from the land of the rising sun. So look for Io Sky and Asuka to be added to WrestleMania, and I do think this could have Kairi Sane implications. Do I think this is a good match? Absolutely. Would this be the ideal match that I would have for Io? No, but it is a very logical match, especially knowing how Io feels a partner really should be treated. I mean, just look how Io was treated by Rhea, and look how Kairi's being treated by Asuka. Just, you could say the grass may be greener on the other side. Another match that we could see is a Women's United States Championship match. Obviously, Julia is your reigning United States champion. She defeated Tiffany Stratton in a non-title match at SmackDown. One may ask, well, why did you do this match? A, if it wasn't for the championship, and B, if Tiffany Stratton was going to lose a non-title. Wouldn't this be a good idea to have Tiffany Stratton win, then claim she's the true number one contender, and ask for a match at WrestleMania? That makes total sense. Had Tiffany Stratton, I'm like, why do this match if it wasn't even a championship match? You could have made something bigger on SmackDown. I understand. Maybe they didn't want 2 United States Championship matches on TV. I don't know. But I do think Tiffany Stratton and Julia could be linked towards a match at WrestleMania, and I wouldn't even be surprised if one of the following occurs. Whether Chelsea Green's also added to this and it's a triple threat, or maybe even the addition of a Kiana James as well. And maybe you make this a fatal 4-way match with Julia versus Kiana James versus Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green. Now, I know people might ask, what about good old Jordan Grace? Jordan Grace is out currently with an injury. You might ask, well, isn't Chelsea Green? Yes, she does have an ankle injury, but it seems to be almost certain that she will be clear very quickly, and by very quickly could very well be as soon as at this moment. And that is the belief around Chelsea Green. It's why she's still doing the shows, whether it's SmackDown, whether it's AAA. If she was really hurt to the extremity of not being able to perform in any way, she wouldn't be in any segments at all. Continental Championship be defended at WrestleMania. We know that Penta defeated Dominic Mysterio just a few weeks ago to become your new Intercontinental Champion. Last Monday, he opened up an open challenge that was answered by Dragon Lee. What an amazing first title defense for Penta, going up against one of the best rising stars in WWE, in my opinion, in Dragon Lee. Ever since he won the tag team championships with AJ Styles and then went onto his own, Dragon Lee has been somebody that the fans are excited to see. I think it's true. I think with Rey Mysterio out, Dragon Lee is fitting in very well. And right now, I think it's okay to put Dragon Lee in that Rey Mysterio role. Not so much what they've been using now, but when Rey was hitting this stage when he first came into WWE. We know that Penta has an open invitational challenge again this Monday. It'd be very intriguing to see who it could be. I even wouldn't be shocked to see somebody like a Javon Evans answer this. I wouldn't even be surprised to see maybe a Grayson Waller or a Kofi Kingston. But I would be very intrigued to see if this has some implications. We do know that Vikingo and Penta will go one-on-one April 11th. So the Saturday before WrestleMania in AAA, and I do believe it's for that Intercontinental Championship. So it'll be very intriguing to see where this takes Penta and the Intercontinental Championship. So if Penta has at least 2, maybe even 3, if he was to successfully defend this this title tomorrow, then go all the way to next week, could have up to 3 title defenses before WrestleMania. So Penta is definitely making the road to WrestleMania a scenic tour, nonetheless. But I do believe that the Intercontinental Championship will be defended. And who, you might ask? I mean, it'd be hard not to say, why don't you just do the Ultimate Open Challenge and have Penta say, hey, everybody wants to climb the ladder here in WWE. It took me over a year to become champion. So I'll make it very easy for everyone. At WrestleMania, you answer the open challenge in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. We do a multi-man ladder match before the IC title. You can have just about anybody involved if you really want. I mean, I can think of JD McDonough, Javon Evans, Penta, Dragon Lee, Kofi Kingston, if you really want that in there. El Grande Americanos, if that's not going to be a match, which it'll be very intriguing to see what they do with those two, but I do not think that is going to be a WrestleMania match anymore. You could even see Danhausen. We might even be able to see the return from his debut at the Royal Rumble. But what about a Royce Keys? Royce Keys could very well. What a great way to introduce Ethan Page onto the main roster if he was to show up and win the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Another match that I think we very well could see is a women's tag team title match. We saw all of the ingredients on SmackDown with Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, who are set to go really 2-on-2, but in tag team action form with the champions, the Irresistible Forces, Lash Legend and Nia Jax, for those tag team titles. That's happening tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. So the big question remains, how's that going to go? Because we saw the Bellas versus Charlotte and Alexa Bliss on SmackDown, and that match had the champions at ringside. And that became a good little brouhaha, with Lash Legend helping the Bellas pick up a tainted victory. And then we saw Lyra and Bayley come out to kind of make a save. We saw all 4 teams. So it looks like all 4 teams are going to go to battle for the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. Yes, I've been saying this for well over a month. I've been asking for TLC. But there's a wrinkle. It did appear that Nikki Bella suffered an ankle injury on SmackDown. Now, we don't know the extent. Details really haven't been out there. I'm sure we will hear a little bit about it. But from the sounds of it, I don't think it's going to be a serious one. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a Brie Bella versus Charlotte or Alexa Bliss match for next week on SmackDown. But maybe, just maybe, we see a little bit of a scale back on the Bellas just to make sure that they're available in 3 weeks' time. Or we flat out get the Bellas removed from this match and we continue on with either 3 teams, which I think makes the most sense, or we then find a fourth team, and I would definitely look towards NXT at this point. And my reasoning would be simple. Lash and Nia are the champions. They're neutral. They could swing back and forth with all brands. We got Charlotte and Alexa Bliss over at SmackDown and Lyra and Bayley on Raw. Right now, I don't think there is a tag team in WWE on Raw or SmackDown that makes sense to go there and be put in this position if you're going to add one. But I'm looking at maybe Fallon Henley and JC Jane from Fatal Influence to be my representation of NXT if I'm doing that. And then you can have an NXT team and some NXT involvement at WrestleMania. Just an idea if by chance Nikki Bella is injured and the Bellas can't participate in this match at WrestleMania, that would be my solution. And I would keep a four-way match, but I would go a member of every roster, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, alongside the champions. And then obviously we got Gunther, who's right there. We all know that there was rumors about him and a Rey Mysterio match. And with the injured ribs from Rey Mysterio, we just don't know if he is going to be. Actually, we do know he's not going to be able to go at WrestleMania. But what we don't know is if Gunther is going to have an opponent. Personally, I look at the scenario and see LA Knight. I see Gunther. We're wondering what both men are going to be doing at WrestleMania. We don't know. So there you go. Right there, that could be a match. If you want an instant classic, you could have Gunther. Obviously, have a mystery opponent. Ilya Dragunov right there on SmackDown. Who's going to complain about that being a match at WrestleMania? And then obviously, we all know that the Usos are defending the tag team titles tomorrow on Raw against Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I do think we're going to get new tag team champions in the division. I really do. But the question is, do those titles go to WrestleMania? It'd be hard-pressed to say no if the Vision have them. And those are all the matches I see that could potentially be added to WrestleMania. Let me know your thoughts. But until then, we're going to check out what is on tap on all nights in Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So if by chance you go to turnbucklestudios.org/shows, this is what you will find.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we go TNA as we brace for Impact at 9 p.m. On Fridays, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later that night, we have the Borsnest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day. And please visit turnbucklestudios.org.
And to understand, I did mention earlier, the PLE Patrol, definitely something that you will not see on that calendar. That is the weekly calendar. That is not the final. Note on that calendar, we will be making some changes in due time. Most likely, that will take effect after WrestleMania. So don't worry. For the mainstay, what you see is what you'll get. We do know that lately there has been some scale back on Brace for Impact, but don't worry. We will have answers to Thursday in just due time. So please be patient and keep watching so you can be alerted. I don't know what match everyone is excited to see at WrestleMania. So if you want, let me know in the chat right now. But I do know that our poll is specifically going who walks out WWE Women's World Champion? Stephanie McKeer, Liv Morgan. If you want to see the champion retain the title, type 1 in the chat. If you think a new champion is going to be crowned, type 2 in the chat. And let's get a little bit of involvement here. Now, I asked last week who we think will walk out between CM Punk and Roman Reigns as your world heavyweight champion. And CM Punk took the win there. A lot of people do think that CM Punk will walk out still champion. And I want to talk a little bit about that match. Because on Monday, we saw all 3 members of the Bloodline corner Punk in the ring at some point. You might say, well, they didn't really corner. They kind of did, though. It was on one side, both members of the Usos and Roman Reigns. On the other side, it was only CM Punk. Now, Jimmy Uso was maybe the least aggressive out of the 3. I think that's fair to say. But what struck me as intrigued was the fact that we saw Jey Uso direct traffic to Roman Reigns when things got physical. And that is what was very, very intriguing to me. Normally, it is Roman Reigns yelling at Jey Uso about what he has to do. The one thing we do know about both Roman and Jey Uso is that they are driven by the emotional investment that they have with the situation. They both are driven from motivation, but it's also their Achilles heels. Sometimes they get too emotional, and that can be their downfall. But for the most time, it has brought them multiple championships and Royal Rumble wins. So it kind of came to me in a sense that what if this actually isn't about Roman and Punk? What if we see the Usos drop the tag team titles tomorrow on Raw? And then we see Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso kind of go, I don't want to say separate ways, but we do know Jimmy Uso is about to be a father. Maybe he takes some time off. And the story now starts going back to how the Bloodline really got going during that pandemic, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. What if Jey Uso ends up stabbing Roman Reigns in the back? And we end up getting a story of stories that is Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. And think about the potential of what if The Rock comes back to anoint Jey Uso the tribal chief of the family, and he strips the title away from Roman Reigns. This then would set up a match next year at WrestleMania between Rock and Roman Reigns. That is a match we've been wanting for so long. But until then, we can get this epic story between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns about who really runs the Samoan dynasty. I think this very well could be an absolute swerve that so many people wouldn't expect, but would be 100% in. Because now Now you give another purpose to Jey Uso. Now we don't need to see Roman Reigns all the time, and he's not. He's going to be gone for a bit. He's going to come back. Yeah. Yeah, return, leave, repeat. That's kind of been his cycle. But in the meantime, you start putting Jey Uso on the map as one of your top heels. We all know how over and popular he is with the 8, but we all know that things die down, and I'd rather strike when the iron's hot, not when it's cooling down. So, with that theory, what if Jey Uso screws Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? I'm just putting it out there in the universe. So, if anybody says, hey, can't believe this happened, you can say, no, actually, I did hear it on the Chris Parrish podcast in March. But I do think we're going to see something big at WrestleMania. I really do. And one of the big things that I am excited about WrestleMania is the element of surprise. Now, I know we're used to that with events like the Royal Rumble and really anything that involves not knowing. But what I really want to see is something that we just don't know, nor can we expect. Last year, I think we saw the writing on Paul Heyman turning on Roman Reigns. I think it was safe to say. But I don't really think a lot of people truly thought we were going to get a true trigger pulled on Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. It was still one of those things you had to see to believe. And now I understand with my idea, I'm talking about The Rock coming back. And a lot of people would say, please, no, just don't. But if there ever was an opportunity, and ever a time where he did, something within the family that affected the business side of it, that would make a lot of sense. And it's logical. And it would help elevate two people and set up something iconic for next year's WrestleMania that may or may not happen in Saudi Arabia. Right now it is. Until further notice, it is. But the world is crazy. We never know what can happen. So the big question is, if you had all these things in place because of this one domino to fall, why not? Now, I know when talking about these types of situations, it has to work or you're going to open yourself up to an absolute large amount of criticism. I get that. So I think the major question is, do we believe if this idea is to happen, do we believe Jey Uso can pull it off as being the top heel in a company? Because in my eyes, he's either number one heel or it doesn't work. Now we all know that Jey Uso loves wearing yeet on all of his clothing. But you know what I heard the other day? Is that he doesn't always like wearing all of the clothes outside of work. I know Peppermint Queen is saying, yes, I'm here for heel Jey. Well, he might be a heel Jey on the fashion side outside of the ring because you might love the yeet inside the ring. He's going to turnbucklestudios.org/shop and he's picking up a Chris Parrish hoodie, Chris Parrish podcast t-shirt, sweatshirt. He's picking up a Turnbuckle Studios hoodie, sweatshirt, on all that jazz. And you know what? You could too. You could too, and you could join him in wearing and supporting all members of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. You can support myself at the Chris Bears Podcast by going to turnbucklestudios.org/shop. You want to see kind of some of the, like a teaser? We got you. I'm going to tease you right now.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
One match I didn't talk about that could be added, and this is definitely based on the the medical condition of both men. That is Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. It was reported that Braun Breaker has been in the PC and is expected to be cleared. Unless a setback occurs, which I really don't think can happen, because I'm going to say this, even if it's one match at WrestleMania, I think Braun Breaker can get through it. If he's going to the PC, we all know that Braun Breaker is ready to go. We all know that he's chomping at the bit to get back, and we all know that if he's ready to come back, he will. Seth Rollins is cut from the same cloth. We're seeing him every week. Is he getting truly physical with people? No, and I think that's by design. Really, what we've been seeing is him kind of being in flux, really. We're not really sure if he's medically cleared, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Peppermint Queen asks, is he healed? Right now, we don't even know the severity of the hernia. We don't know if it was a major hernia. We don't know if it was a minor hernia. But what we do know is that a hernia can be healed in a few months. We know that Braun Breaker, right after the Royal Rumble, so early February. So he had all of February and the majority of March to be healed or to get himself all right. And with the doctors that WWE provides, with the way he takes care of his body and the way that he does train, wrestlers nowadays heal up like superheroes. We all remember John Cena coming back within 3 to 4 months from a torn pec because he's just different. Seth Rollins, when you kind of see him now, kind of when he was hurt, it's crazy that he's back already. Even when he returned to face Triple H at WrestleMania, it was pretty wild that was as close as it was, but he was very close to not being cleared. So it's not out of the realm impossible that both Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker could find their way on a card at WrestleMania. We still have 3 weeks, so it's going to be very intriguing. And I don't think this is a story that needs a lot to be there. It does not need much more. It very well could be maybe a hooded figure comes in, spears Seth Rollins. We don't know who it is, and that buys another week. Maybe it happens again. Ends up being Braun Breaker. He points, and then you can have the go home Raw be a hooded picture. Stomps Braun. It's Seth Rollins, and that's how you build to WrestleMania. I think that's all you do. One move to each guy. You don't even have to have Braun Breaker be the spear. the initial time. You just have to have people think it is. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's really all you got to do. I mean, we're invested in the story. You can make the match right now. We don't really need much. We're gonna watch it. It's pretty much all I'm saying. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if we see up to 8 matches a night at WrestleMania. Yes, we're going to have a couple that aren't exactly long, but again, WrestleMania is WrestleMania, and they are starting a little bit earlier than normal. So who's to say? Who's to really say? But the one thing I can tell you, as convoluted as WrestleMania is, we know that SmackDown's on the Friday. We know that WrestleMania is on the Saturday, Sunday. We all know that after SmackDown on the 17th, we're getting the Hall of Fame. And everyone's wondering, wait, you didn't talk about Stand and Deliver. Isn't Stand and Deliver always right there too? Well, this year, WWE's like, we're going to put it Saturday, April 4th, which is next Saturday. And your boy has a little bit of news. Next week, I am, on Saturday, going to have an open invitational watch party of Stand and Deliver. That's right. If you want a chance to join, all you have to do is message me and we can get the party started. But next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be conducting a watch party for Stand and Deliver. So you might want to check that out. If you want to have some fun, you want to watch NXT, you want to see all of tomorrow's superstars today, NXT is the place to be, and you don't want to miss it. This Saturday, April 4th, 7 p.m. on my socials, Chris Parrish Podcast presents to you the Stand and Deliver watch party featuring myself and so many others. And the best part is, it might not be just the people from the TAP. It could have so many different other people that you don't know. Why? Because I want to have fun. What's better than having a party where we all just get together, have some fun, watch some good old professional wrestling? That is what I'm talking about. Outside of that, I do want to let everybody know that I, once again, do apologize for all the technical issues I had at the start. First, it was my camera, then it was my microphone. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with technology, but sometimes when you stream, things like to go wrong as soon as you hit the record button. It's fun, but hey, a wise man once said, adapt or perish, and well, since I'm already perish, I guess I just got to adapt. So I do want to talk to you a little bit about Club WWE, the WWE Club. What is it? Well, right now we don't know much. We don't really know. We know what the club was in WWE. We all know that was AJ, Gallows, Anderson. I think Meacham was a part of that for a bit. Finn was kind of a part of that for a bit. That was a club. So I know there's been a lot of speculation. If you want to know what my personal opinion about this is going to be, I think it's just going to be one of those things that WWE provides you of if you want to get a little bit of access. If you want to get like the goods, cool tickets to shows, if you want to get those backstage passes, or you want to get anything like that, or you want to get deals on the shop, things like that, join the WWE Club or Club WWE, whatever they want to call it. There you go. And maybe that's the only way for these types of tickets to be sold. I don't know. Like packages, I don't know. But I'll definitely dig in more. I'm sure we'll talk about it as the weeks are coming up. It's something that we saw just the other day on SmackDown. I think we saw maybe a teaser on Raw. I don't remember. It's been a week. So that's all I can tell you. So not too sure more, but when I get a little bit more, I'll let you know. We got Renee Chapman Granton coming in from Alabama. Thank you for joining. My name is Chris Parrish. This is the Chris Parrish Podcast. We are nearing the end, but we do cover, or I like to cover, a lot of pro wrestling, WWE type stuff. So if that's in the market, please, if you're on Facebook, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and follow the page, because every Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live. If you missed it, next week on Saturday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be doing a live invitational watch party for Stand and Deliver, the NXT big show of the year. So you don't want to miss that. Next week, I do want to let you know that episode 122 will be coming out. And what am I going to be doing? Well, here it is. 2-week notice. That's right. Tomorrow or next week, we will be having our 2-week notice up until WrestleMania. And what better way to give a notice than by getting excited for what's happening? We all know that when we want to kind of get to the next thing, we got to give our notice of what we're doing right now. And I can't wait to give you my notice and talk about what's happening in 2 weeks, hence 2-week notice. And you might ask, aren't you always talking about WrestleMania lately? And you're not wrong. But what I'll be doing is doing a lot of WrestleMania themed things. I'll be ranking my favorite WrestleMania matches, what my favorite WrestleManias are. You can also let me know what your favorite WrestleMania moments and WrestleMania matches are, among more. We'll get a little bit more clarity of what's going on for this year's WrestleMania in Las Vegas. And I do want to let everybody know, I'm going to show this one last time. The poll of the week. Who walks out WWE Women's World Champion at WrestleMania this year? Type 1 if you think Stephanie Vaquer will walk out still champion. Type 2 if you think Liv Morgan if Liv Morgan takes the title and walks out as a new champion. I know a lot of people do think Liv Morgan is going to be the new champion. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some champions this year retain their titles. Again, I don't think all the title matches are going to be complete in terms of the story. I do think the AJ Lee Becky Lynch Intercontinental title match that we saw get official on Monday. That's right. That match, didn't talk about it, but it is official for WrestleMania. I do think that's the last match we see. Also, Renee, thank you so much for liking on Facebook. I appreciate you so much, and I hope to see you more often in these chats. And I do like to have a very fun, interactive chat. You guys had a chance every week. You can narrate this podcast. I'll have topics, but I have no problem going off the rails and talking about what you guys want. But we are hitting that mark. We are hitting that time of the episode. I do want to let everybody know I will see you next week for Chris Parrish Podcast, episode 122. This is episode 121 showing up. And I just want to say thank you and make sure you stay happy, stay healthy, and you be yourself. Because at the end of the day, you matter.
Rip through the clouds, faster, catch us from falling close to the ground. Perish or